asking for the YouTube subscribers. Well, subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 60, Song Yadong versus Corey Sandhagen. Random main event, however, we could see some fireworks in this main event. Definitely could see a good fight. Card overall on paper is weak, however, it is a fight night. It is a fight night, so we are getting used to that. And sometimes these cards on paper turn out to be bangers. So you can't judge a book, I guess, by its cover, and we can say we can't judge a card by its cover. Always we find some good fights throughout the card, whether it's guys that some people won't know about as much. They turn out to big fight because they're fighting for their UFC career. Guys, like this video, like the video. It does help me out a ton. Comment as well. Want to get that algorithm going so we can get some more eyes on these videos. Systemsportscapping.com for all updated records, resume, free picks, subscription opportunities as well. Best time of the year personally. Now up until like November, very busy time. Obviously handicapping the UFC every weekend. NFL is back. PGA, Live Golf. MLB playoffs is coming up. I'll be looking at that to handicap as well. And then NBA and NHL. And then top it off in November with the World Cup. This is the best time to profit. I have so many options. You're not limited to one or two sports. I handicap anywhere from 5 to 7 different sports. So busy time of the year, but I love it. UFC 279 recap. What a wild ride. If we thought the NFL was crazy on Sunday, UFC was right up there. 3 fights changed on the main card due to Chimaev missing weight by 8 pounds. He did, so looking at it quickly, he did say he was able to cut. However, he had some cramps, etc. And the doctor said it wouldn't be safe, so he just decided not to cut at all. So technically, he did miss by 8 pounds, but it was because the doctors told him not to cut anymore. He probably could have made the 170 mark. However, there could have been complications and issues. So that's why he did not cut the weight. So the 8 pounds, yes, it is the 8 pounds, but it's due to because the weight doctor said stop, right? He would have cut a lot more. Maybe he wouldn't have made weight, but it wouldn't have been by a pound or even less. So that's how that played out. I thought the matchups were better on paper compared to the first card, right? Obviously, the Tony and Diaz fight made sense. Made sense probably 5 years ago and probably would have been a better fight, but that made sense. The Rodriguez fight versus Lee wasn't a great fight. Obviously, Rodriguez came in heavier. You can even see it. I don't know if I would call it a robbery. I thought Lee won the fight, but I wouldn't call it a robbery. It's a very close fight. Definitely very, very close there. I don't think we'll see it again. Rodriguez saying, "Give me I'll fight him. I'll fight a rematch again." But they're different sizes, and I don't know if they both can get to 170. I guess sure. I know Rodriguez fights at 170, can fight at 170. So would I like to see a rematch? No. It's just that fight wasn't that exciting. Rodriguez obviously worried about Lee's power, and I don't see anything different happening there. Obviously, co-main Chimaev and Holland. Obviously, it was clear what was going to happen there. I just didn't see it ending that quick. I thought Holland would be able to survive a few rounds at least. Obviously, we were on the Chimaev side. I did have him in a 2-fight parlay, but I took the over 1.5 rounds. And Chimaev ended in the first round. Holland's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I didn't think he would get submitted that fast. I expect him to get taken down, ground and pound for a little while, but able to maneuver and last some time. But Chimaev's just an animal, and he just showed how much better than he was on Holland on the ground at least. And Chimaev wasted no time to get the fight down to the ground. Going to be interesting to see what Chimaev does, right, moving forward, to see if he's going to stay 185, 170. It's going to be very interesting due to the weight cut issues. Main event, a little underwhelming, I thought. Obviously, I did think, it was a close fight going before the choke. I think Diaz was winning the fight, but Ferguson was kicking and beating up that leg pretty well. Obviously, Diaz can handle that type of punishment. But the big mistake was from Tony to take him down. And, that's what Diaz was training for his camp. His whole camp was training for Chimaev. What was Chimaev going to do? Chimaev was going to take him down. So he had that choke ready, right? So I don't know why Tony went to the wrestling. Wasn't too sure why he did that, but he got caught. He got paid for it. And Diaz, ends his career on a winning note, which is definitely nice to see. Perfect free card for you guys just because there's only 2 plays, right? We were on Walker plus 180, which was also a client play of mine, smaller unit. He hit, definitely tons of value there. It was a great bounce back spot for Walker. And then I did lean Aldana, but didn't bet it from a personal standpoint. So, hey, back-to-back free cards for you guys just because those 3 fights weren't on it, right? So, only 2 fights cash. Only a 2-2 all-fight card for me with no profit. We had the perfect card in France, 2-2 here. Not too mad about it just because it was a small unit play. I didn't even have a full unit play just because the changes, 24-hour notice, you don't know how fighters are really going to fight. So small units, but stayed with the Walker play. Probably should have just bet the Walker play, but I like to have a little more action than one bet. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Like I always say, guys, shop around. Shop around and have multiple books so you get the best price in the market. Let's get into the main event. Let's get right into the main event. Sandhagen minus 190 versus Song Yadong plus 160. Books are moving around. I see some minus 200s out there for Sandhagen. Some Songs plus 170. This is a main event. Should have some fireworks between it. A guy that's been there and fought the best in this division, and a guy coming up, young, still 24, guys. Still 24, and he's continuing to climb the rankings. No secret, I'll just quickly say, I like Sandhagen here to avoid 3 losses in a row. I agree with the pricing here as a 2-1 favorite. I think the pricing and the line makes sense. Good line making here by the books. Sandhagen back-to-back losses were against the top guys in the division, right? Peter Yan, killer, and Dillashaw. Now, I thought he won the Dillashaw fight. Close fight, but I thought he won. And then the Peter Yan fight, close fight. Yan did win that fight because he had the bigger strikes. But Sandhagen was in that fight for all 5 rounds. It seems like Corey, when he's stepping up in competition, that's when he's faltering. Right? When he steps up to the top guys in the division, Sterling, Dillashaw, and Yan, he's struggling. Not struggling like he's not in the fight at all. Obviously, the Sterling fight, he wasn't in that fight at all. But the Dillashaw and Yan fight, he was in their fight. He was just a step behind in some aspects of that fight. When he's fighting guys like Moraes and Edgar, he's finding finishes. He's looking incredible, right? Song, who is still super young at 24, like I mentioned earlier, he's on a 3-fight win streak with wins over good fighter like Kenny, Arce, and Moraes. Not top-level guys, right? Not guys that Corey Sandhagen has been fighting and has been losing to. So the experience advantage with 5-round fights, top-level guys, and, right there for the belt is on Corey Sandhagen's side. Mid-tier guys that Song has been fighting. Now, he does have the Vera win, which is impressive, Marlon Vera, but it was in 2019, and keep in mind, Marlon Vera has improved a ton since that fight. I thought maybe Vera won that fight as well. Super close, but, that's a good win, definitely on his resume, so he's been in there with some good guys. Right, the secret with Song, obviously, he has the power. He has the power. He will, throw a ton of strikes. Don't see too much grappling or wrestling from him. Interesting to see if Sandhagen may mix that up. We will see. Obviously, Sandhagen does have some nice submissions on his record. But I just think Corey Sandhagen his movement is going to be the factor in this fight and the key contributor to him winning this fight. Kind of stick and jab, move in and out. He'll be able to land probably some, nice kicks as well. And just mixing it up and making an MMA fight. but his movement will be key. I think Song does well against guys that will just stand and bang with him, and Sandhagen's not going to do that. Sandhagen's not going to stand there and bang with Song. So his path, I think Song's path would be obviously to catch him, catch him with a shot. And I just don't see if this fight does go all 5 rounds, or there is a later stoppage that, Song wins this fight later in the fight or by decision. Now, Song's never been a 5-round fight. That's obviously one advantage for Sandhagen. I'm not going to say Song's cardio is bad, because it's not. In the 3-round fight, it's never an issue. How we'll make in 5-round fights, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But obviously, if the fight goes to the 4th, 5th round, Sandhagen has been there, and I do see him capitalizing later in the fight. So, like I mentioned, I do like Song. I do like Sandhagen here. I think the line's accurate. I will be probably betting Sandhagen as well, and it may fit in a 2-fight parlay if I don't get to a straight bet here. Now, outcome is interesting. This fight I can see going both ways. I can see it going 5 rounds and Sandhagen winning by decision. I can also see a later stoppage. So obviously you want to look at the over 2.5 rounds. You can look there, but definitely the value here is you can get plus money at the fight to go the distance and plus 300 for Corey Sandhagen to finish this fight. Both guys are durable, I get it. Both guys are tough to finish, but if you're giving plus 300, there's some value there for a smaller unit and worth maybe a sprinkle. So, Sandhagen plus 300 to win this fight within 5 rounds is something to look at. However, I can see the fight going both ways, but there's value there. But, I do like Sandhagen enough to probably bet it for myself and clients this weekend. No Canny minus 105 versus Rodriguez minus 115. That's opening line. It has moved. To minus 125 now. Minus 125 now. So the lines have flipped. This could be an exciting fight here. It's a co-main event. I don't 100% agree with the line movement. However, I know Nujikakani, is very impressive 4-fight win streak here, and he's a very dangerous striker with back-to-back knockouts. Not beating world beaters, Marc-Andre Barrios, and also Todorovic. So guys that are slower, where he has the advantage in the striking department. Similar style to Barrio. I think Rodriguez does have better striking than both those guys. Better striking than both those guys that I just mentioned. However, you'll want to try to get this fight to the ground. His black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very high level. I know Nukani just got a black belt, but it's different levels of black belt. And I think Rodriguez's path would be to try to grapple. Try to get this fight down to the ground. Try to make it a mixed MMA fight, mixed martial arts fight, and not just stand and bang. If you stand and bang with him, it's going to be dangerous. You could get knocked out at any point. Not a fight that I'll probably be betting for my clients. It's a flip of a coin type of fight, and the line movement's telling you that, right? Obviously, Nujikani, if he keeps this fight standing, he has a great chance to win this fight. But I think Rodriguez should try to mix it up. Should try to get this fight down to the ground if possible, and try to get it into a submission style type of fight, grappling style type of fight. I know Rodriguez has been improving his stand-up. He does have some power as well, but let's be honest. Nujikani is one of the better strikers, great kickboxer, a lot of accolades there. So I don't see Rodriguez having a ton of success on the feet. He's going to have to mix this up. Again, I'm not going to have a fight on this. I'm not going to have a bet on this fight. However, I do see some value in this fight not going all 3 rounds. I do see a finish here at some point, and you can get that. It's a little expensive, obviously, at minus 200. However, you can 2-fight parlay that. That could make a bet as mine for a smaller unit. Touchy Feely is back. Minus 120 versus Billy Algio. Bill Algio plus 100. This hasn't been a pretty road for Feely as of late, right? With 2 losses and a draw. He has been in there, though, with some tough guys, right? Bryce Mitchell, Yusuf, Jourdain, Cater a while back. When he steps up in competition, he usually fails. Now, this I wouldn't consider a step up in competition, more his level or just below. Now, last fight, he didn't step up in competition, which does concern me with Brito. Focus wasn't there, and he got caught. I was on Fili in that fight. Like I'm probably sure most of the market was, and he just got caught with a shot. Now, does that carry over here? It's tough. The thing with Algio, not a power puncher. Doesn't have the power to hurt Fili. Algio is more of a well-rounded guy, fairly good on the ground. He can be taken down, though. And Fili does have a solid wrestling base. He does have over two takedowns per fight. He can definitely look for that here in this fight. Algio does get taken down time and time again in fights. So I think that would be Fili's path here. And I do think at minus 120 there is it's a decent price to bet him straight up. At minus 120. This may make my betting card on Fili. I'll obviously watch the weigh-ins, do a little more research if needed, watching interviews, etc. But, I definitely could see Fili winning this due to making a mixed martial arts fight. And Algio doesn't have that path for the 1 KO power that he could put on Fili. Right? I like Algio. He's a guy that will fight for your money. He's a guy that is fairly well-rounded, but not great at anything. So due to that, I think Fili's just a little bit better everywhere, a lot better in the wrestling department. It'll be interesting to see if he goes that route. I think he should. I think that's his path to victory. So I probably will take a shot at the minus 120 here on Fili. It's just you're a little worried about his recent losses going to catch up to him here. He's not a spring chicken anymore, Fili. He's been in there with a lot of guys. He's been in the UFC for a while. Is he going to be able to bounce back after all those losses? There's always a little question there. But I'm willing to find out and take a chance here on Fili. I also like this fight to probably go all 3 rounds. I like the fight to go all 3 rounds. So you can get plus money on a decision on Fili. We don't see either guy. I don't know. Algio's never been finished in the UFC. Fili, I think he has 1 finish in the last 3 or 4 years. So decision makes sense here at plus money for Fili, or the fight to go the distance as well. Bozer minus 175 versus Nascimento plus 150. Scary fight, right? Mid-tier heavyweights, you know how I feel about that. Anything could really happen at the end of the day. But let's look at it a little bit. I do have a lean here. Bozer, after back-to-back losses to Orlovsky, which I did think he won that Orlovsky fight, and Latifi, he returns with a nice win over St. Peru, the veteran, right? Always nice to get a win there. Then he took a year off. I'm guessing, was to get better, improve, and make a run in this division. Bozer, he does have a decent record here. He does have some losses, but he does also have 20 wins. So Bozer, if he does go on a little bit of a run here, get past Nascimento, which I do think he should, he can go on maybe on a run here. I'm not going to say he's going to get a title shot anytime soon, but he can start fighting ranked guys if he gets a couple back-to-back nice wins here. Let's look at Nascimento. Not high on him. He does have a nice win earlier in his career over Mays by submission, but then he lost to Dacus. Then he had no contest against Bordeaux. He probably lost that first round. Mixed bag for Nascimento. Like I mentioned, I'm not really high on the guy. At the end of the day, though, it's a heavyweight fight. We can see anything that can happen here. Anything can happen. Bozer, though, I'll tell you, he's quicker on his feet. He moves more of a 205 guy, and he does have some power. So I think his quickness here will play a factor. I do think he finds a way to get it done. Minus 175 sucks, though. It sucks, right? Should he win by finish? Sure, you can look at that. Probably get plus money. But this price does kind of suck, but I do think Bozer finds a way. I do think he's going to be the quicker guy on the feet. I don't think this fight's going to get down to the ground. So if this does stay standing, Bozer should be able to somewhat pick him apart, be able to use his quickness on his feet, and find a way to get a win here. Hernandez minus 170 versus Barrio plus 145. We just talked about Barrio. Tough call here. Some value here with Barrio. However, not a guy I like to back off. Not a guy I would like to bet He's more of just a rugged, tough guy. Hernandez, famous for getting that choke over Ferreira, one of the better grapplers in the UFC. And then he followed up with a win over Frem. Barrios coming off a win versus Wright, but Jordan Wright, not high on the guy. Decent win. He did find his submission early in the first round. That was interesting. Barrios is a guy who is tough, like I mentioned, strong, and can take a shot. Not a lot of accolades, especially in the wrestling department. You can take this guy down. You can take Barrios down. Time and time again, he's getting taken down by his opponents. So I see the path for Hernandez to get this fight down to the ground, maybe find a submission at some point. But even on the feet, I would favor Hernandez. Not by a ton, but I would favor Hernandez on the feet as well. I would have to look at Hernandez if I was going to bet this fight. But the best part is you don't have to bet the fight. -170 Hernandez, I'm not going to be betting it. Maybe if I can find a submission prop high over 300, I may look there for a small unit. But I think Hernandez finds a way to get it done if he decides to wrestle. If you decide to get this fight down to the ground, where Barrios struggles with his takedown defense, that's going to be the path. So Hernandez, if he listens and wrestles and makes it an MMA fight, I do think he wins this fight. Barrios, you never know. He's a tough guy. If it gets later in the fight, he can somehow maybe win this fight, but not enough at +145 for me to get to. Last fight here, guys. Pfeiffer -450 versus Amedovski +350. A lot of people are high on Pfeiffer after the Contender Series win. A lot of talk. They're trying to build him up here, it seems, with a softball. It's first fight in the UFC, so it does make sense, right? They want to try to build him up. You're not giving him a world beater, even though people are high on Pfeiffer. Amedovski's 0-3 in the UFC, and he's on the last fight of his contract. UFC didn't cut him. They said let him fight his last time. Let's see what he has. His losses against Jocko. I like Jocko, pretty decent fighter. John Phillips and Joseph Holmes, low-level guys. Two of those guys are very low-level in my opinion, and he lost both of them. The price is high, though, at -450. For you parlay players out there, it's probably a decent piece. Keep in mind, though, it is a guy fighting for his life in Amedovski, even though I do think he's terrible, against Pfeiffer making his UFC debut. However, Pfeiffer's just better everywhere. He's better everywhere. So I have a hard time seeing how Amedovski wins this fight. Very hard time. Unless, he somehow went back to the drawing board and just got a lot better. I haven't seen any evidence of that. So, I like Pfeiffer to win this fight. -450 tells you that. Not a fight I'll be betting for you parlay players. It's definitely a good piece. That will do it, guys. That will do it. NFL video out tomorrow, so look out for that. And like I always say, enjoy the fights and bet smart and know your limits. Take care.